Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Adam, I know you did it big for your wife today on this Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah, you know it. We just finished up dinner actually, so it's yeah, it was really nice.
What'd you have?
So there's this restaurant in DC called Kinship, and so basically we had like it was like a little Cornish game hen with like some tuna tartare as an appetizer and some lobster stroganoff
Oh,
and
nice.
like a chocolate mousse. Yeah, they do the whole like package. You just go and pick it up and heat it up a little bit in the oven, and you're good to go.
You should have cooked, but that's okay.
Look, with pandemic, I'm cooking like every other day, so
I
it's
know,
nice to
right?
have.
It's like a
It's
different.
yeah, we do because we're cooking so much, and it's so crazy just how
Yeah.
much we cook. So yeah, it was nice to switch
Well,
it
it's
up.
not. It sounds good. So, there you go.
Thanks.
Well, I'll let y'all take it away with movie reviews.
Sure thing. So I saw a movie new to HBO Max called Kimmy, Kimi, and it stars Zoe Kravitz as a person who works for a company that does like smart speakers. So think of like Alexa. And her job at the company is she's one of those remote reps that analyzes when someone asks, hey, Kimmy, can you play the song or whatever? And she's one of the people that troubleshoots and like clears it up. So the AI is a little better and it's a little more smarter next time they use it. And while she is listening to one of the recordings, she hears something that may sound like assault. So the speaker went on and she hears this noise. And so this movie kind of follows how she, first of all, deals with her life, because you learn in the movie she's kind of an agoraphobic. So she has troubles going outside. She really just stays in her apartment. But she has to do something about what she's learned. And so she kind of has to get out of her comfort zone and go and report what she heard to the proper people, all the while that the people who kind of know or who did what happened kind of are keeping an eye on her. So it's directed by Steven Soderbergh, who's famous for Ocean's 11 movies, Lucky Logan, and for me, it was okay. So I would call this a middle of the road movie. Zoe Kravitz does a great job. Uh, and movie's only an hour and a half, but you want to learn a little bit more in some aspects, and you want even this is one of those movies also where I think the score and the music really makes a difference on the intensity of some scenes, and I feel like they could have used a little bit more of a different score to bring it up. Not a bad movie in any sense, but just nothing you need to rush and see. But if you have HBO Max, go check it out. Again, it's only an hour and a half, and it's enjoyable.
Yeah. To be honest, I started watching it, but I kind of fell asleep on it, and then I kind of woke up at the end. But I didn't have a desire to go back and watch it like all the way through.
Yeah.
I felt like I had enough to get the gist of the movie.
Yeah, it's very predictable, and you get the point. But yeah. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. Zoe looked good though. She looked great.
Yeah.
Is that the only thing you saw?
Yeah, that's the only thing I got around to seeing this weekend. I mean, I watched a little bit of like I did watch the halftime show at the Super Bowl. I didn't really watch much else, which I really enjoyed. So that was fun. But
Didn't watch it, but it was epic. It was epic.
you know what? Yeah. So I don't remember who did last year or like the years before, really. I mean, I know the big ones, of course, like Lady Gaga and Beyonce and stuff like that. This was a fun year.
Mhm.
And I will say this. So first of all, I liked when 50 Cent appeared upside down because I knew the reference immediately. I was like, oh, this is so awesome. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I was secretly hoping when California Love played, Tupac would have popped out, and this would have been the moment that he revealed that he didn't die, and he was still alive. Now I know that would have never happened in a million years, but deep in my mind, I said this would have been like the ultimate twist, right?
They probably would have stopped the game.
They would have, this would have been like in the headlines for weeks, and I knew it wasn't going to happen, but just watching all that stuff really made me think about that and hope that would happen. But yeah, great performance. Kendrick Lamar was my favorite part.
Mhm.
But yeah. So that's the only other thing I saw.
Well, we talked about this in Hot Topics, but they're talking about how how we have Bruce Springsteen and the Rolling Stones and how they're older, and they're like, now we had something for the younger generation. They said, hold up, Dr. Dre 56, Snoop Dogg's 50, Mary J. Blige 51, Eminem's 49, 50 Cent's 46, and the baby of the group, Kendrick Lamar 34. So they said, We're all getting old.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, they did good. Go ahead.
I was going to say this earlier. I think that what they should start doing is maybe themes to incorporate different artists together. So maybe you can fuse the generations together,
Yeah,
with everybody.
I thought about that too today. How they brought them all together, and there'll be more artists. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the question I don't know the answer to, and not to delay us too much, but does the artist who gets chosen get to choose who they perform with? Like, do they get to choose the other guest, or is there a whole thing to it? Because obviously that was a whole, theme, and he chose that, I'm sure Dr. Dre did,
Yeah.
but I don't know if that's like the liberty that artists get to do.
I would assume like if you're like Beyonce, when she was the halftime performer, she got to choose Kelly and Michelle to come out. And I know one year she had Bruno Mars. I'm sure she chose them. But that is a good question, because sometimes they do have different artists.
It normally works however time frame you have. So like, say Steven's the star of this show, I'm a producer, you're an artist, and they'll say, Adam, you have 20 minutes. What are you going to do with your 20 minutes? And you can do whatever you want within your 20 minutes. And then I would do whatever I need to do in my 30, and Steven has an hour, he can do whatever he wants in his hour. And that's kind of how they do it. And so the art kind of dictates what they do with the time they have to perform. Either they're going to perform, or they're going to join it with someone, or share it with someone. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
All right. Well, Chike, what did you watch?
So one of the films that I saw is called I Want You Back, and it's on Amazon Prime. It stars Charlie Day, Scott Eastwood, yes, Clint's son, Jenny Slate, and Gina Rodriguez. So you have these two couples who have a horrible breakup, and the dumpies are now, they work in the same building, and they're crying on the steps, and they hear each other, and they make this bond, and they started telling each other why they're crying and why they broke up, and the people that they broke up with were the love of their lives, and how their lives are never going to be the same. And they come up with this cockamamie plan to break their exes up from their new relationships. And so they both set out a plan to go work on each other's ex. And as you can imagine with Charlie Day and how he is, and everything is, it's insane and it's crazy. So you have Charlie Day befriending the ex of his new friend, and she's now incorporating herself into his ex's life. And it was worth watching. I say go check it out. It's a good sit at home eating popcorn. Hey, it was snowing yesterday. It was a perfect movie to have on. It was great. It was fun, and it was entertaining. And I like Charlie Day. He makes me laugh. And the situation was just bananas. So yeah, check it out. Everybody's had a breakup. Everybody can relate. Just check it out. So the next film that I saw actually isn't a film. It's a docuseries, and it too is on Amazon, and it is called Fat Tuesdays. And I ran upon it and just scrolling, looking for something to watch. And the premise seemed very interesting to me. And it follows Guy Torrey and his throwing an event at the Comedy Store every Tuesday and calling it Fat Tuesday, where only Black comedians would be performing in the small room of the Comedy Store. And that's an event that he started. And it launched the likes of Martin Lawrence, Jamie Foxx, like all the people that we know and love were filtered through that. And that's how people got their eyes on those type of comedians, because back in those days, Black comedians really weren't on the main stage at the Comedy Store unless you were huge. And this gave them an audience, and producers would actually be, in the main room. They'll come to the smaller room and see what's going on. It's this big event. And then it became this even bigger event when the celebrities start finding out about it. And it just turned into this crazy event every Tuesday. This is where the Comedy Jam comes from. Basically having that event. Russell Simmons says, I want to do this, but I want to do this on TV. and that's how that happened. It's very interesting. And you have people on there like Snoop Dogg, Tiffany Haddish, Regina King, his brother Joe Torre, and Dave Chappelle, all speaking to their experience and what that meant to them to have that stage to perform. It's very interesting.
Nice.
And lastly, this next thing that I saw is actually Masterclass. It is not a movie, and it's called Black History, Black Freedom, and Black Love. And the instructors are Angela Davis, Cornell West, Kimberly Williams Crenshaw, Nicole Hannah Jones, Cheryl Eiffel, and Jelani Cobb. And I guess this is what they're speaking about when they talk about critical race theory and these things they don't want taught in school. Well, you're going to get them in this master class. Anyone, listen to it and watch it. You'll get very good Black history. It's Black History Month. You get very good Black history. And you also understand why there's controversy around them bringing this type of information to schools and why people don't want to hear this in their schools. Because me being a person of color, it was empowering to me, empowering to know, what our true history is and the real facts about our past and how we got to this country and what happened to us while we were. Most of us kind of know it like vaguely, but to have these scholars teach you, like, this is one of the best things. So yeah, definitely check it out. It's a masterclass. Black History, Freedom, and Black Love.
What's that on?
It is on Amazon.
Amazon. Okay. Yeah.
So, and you can get it with Prime.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Nice.
Nice.
And actually, I think Masterclass even has its own section.
Okay,
So,
that makes sense.
and I do know that they had several different segments of not this particular thing, but of different people doing master classes on different subjects.
Nice. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, but definitely check this out, Stephen. It's really powerful.
I will. Did you watch Euphoria?
Oh yes.
That show is
how could I not?
But you know what? Watching the show, watching last week's and then watching yesterday's, I don't know when it comes on. I just know it's on my but anyway, watching the last two episodes, and they're complaining that's glorifying drug use. There is nothing glorified in watching that.
No.
Watching that that character go through so much that she's going through, and then they keep telling us a 5% chance that she'll beat her addiction. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know what's glorifying. Anyway, but definitely a great show. One of the actresses, the one.
They have to win some awards this year.
Oh, they have to. One of the actors, the one that slept with her best friend's boyfriend, that was in love with him. So in real life, she's married to some wealthy man, but she said that she will not date anyone that's in the industry. And they were saying, well, he's still rich, but she said that she'd rather someone who's more low key. I get that. Yeah. Anyway, I did watch some horrible movie. It was the Bobby Christina movie. It came out years ago, like maybe like 2018 or so. I think it was on TV One, and it just, Vivica Fox was in it, and she plays Pat Houston, and she actually did a good job. She's a good actress anyway. The girl who played Barbara Christina actually was good. She sounded just like Barbara Christina, like her talking voice, and she had her mannerisms down. And the woman who played Whitney Houston, she was on the Real Housewives of Atlanta for a season. I can't think of her name. They had the look like in terms of hairstyle and stuff, but walking around singing gospel music all day. Really. It was just horrible. Every time she was saying, I would just start laughing. I'm thinking, what, did that sound nothing like that? But it was like, because I had wanted to see it when they were making it. I remember when they were making it because they had shown pictures. And you could tell they took looks from different things that had happened, but Mm-mm. But the guy who played Bobby, he's actually well known. I can't think of his name. He did a good job too. But that Whitney Houston, they could have picked someone else for that.
Speaking of Bobby, Bobby has something coming up. He's
Yeah,
doing.
he has a docu-series coming up, and he has some kind of he has I think it's a 6-part docu-series, and he has a documentary coming out as well.
Yes.
But
Okay.
it's all on where did Jan Jackson on Lifetime. It's on Lifetime.
Okay.
But some people say we already know the story. But I guess he has more to say.
But those things that we don't know. I don't think that we know the whole story. Not the whole story.
Yeah. But we'll see.
No Big Brother?
Got a birthday.
No Big Brother?
Yeah.
Big Brother. Oh my God.
Is that still going on?
Yes. So I caught up this morning. So there's some drama in the house. So Cynthia and Todd Bridges they really get into it. Bump heads. There were clips that were going around on Instagram, and all you hear is Todd screaming "F you, F her," and all that. And people are like, what are they arguing about? So apparently Cynthia didn't like the way he voted against her. And apparently he had some, because when they first got on the show, she voted against him, but they have made up since then or whatever, but she feels like he still has that. And I didn't even know you then, you know what I mean? We were all just trying to figure out the game. And so they get into it. But when it came down to voting, he voted for her, like voted, to keep her. So I don't know, but that was weird. But then, so now, so Todrick and I can't think of her name, but she's the wrestler. They're on one side of the house, and Carson, who's from Queer Eyes, Straight Guy, all that kind of shows, or RuPaul's Drag Race, him and Cynthia are on one side of the house, and there's this other woman who she's with Carson and Cynthia. And so the wrestler, she knows she's going up because she's winning competitions, and she was going after Carson. And I mean, it was known she was going after Carson. Not that she doesn't like him in real life, but just she thinks he's a good competitor. But now that Carson won, he can put her up. So Todrick, who is the choreographer, and he's a songwriter, and he's an artist, he worked with Taylor Swift. He planted the seed with Cynthia and with Carson that the model, that she was playing both sides of the house, but she wasn't. But she has them, I mean, her and Cynthia got into it. And she was like, I voted for Carson to stay. What are you talking about? But and so it's just interesting dynamic of how you can get in someone's head. And if you look at it, now Cynthia's on guard with this woman when the woman was really on your side. You know what I mean? But anyway, so they got into it, and but they have elimination tonight, and so we'll see what happens. But just when one thing about Big Brother, just when you think who's going on, what's going to happen, something will pop out and just change the whole game. But one thing that is interesting, this happens sometimes, but it's happened a lot this season with Celebrity Big Brother, that the whole house will vote against someone. Like, so they strategize throughout the house, but typically it's like 5-3 or something. This time it's always the whole house. That's why I was shocked when Todd voted to keep Cynthia, but the whole house voted to take out the other person. So he won with the house. And that's happening a lot this season, which is interesting. So yeah.
Nice.
Your money on who do you see taking it right now, if you had to guess?
I can see Carson going a long way because Carson has a really good personality in the house. And apparently he cooks a lot for them. But he has just like some good people play. The guy from SNL, Chris Kilpatrick, or not Kilpatrick.
Chris Kattan.
Yeah. He left on his own.
Oh.
First of all, he didn't really know the game anyway. He told them in one elimination, well, guys, you can go ahead and vote me out. I've had fun, and she really wants to be here more than me. And begging to be leaving. They voted all for him to stay. And he's done it like twice. They said,
oh my gosh,
begging y'all to vote him out, and he ended up leaving. He ended up leaving the show, but they didn't. Unless I missed it, they didn't say why. But they announced that someone had to leave. But I think that Carson could be a good player. I really like Lamar Odom on the show, but he doesn't win anything. But he's an instigator and he's funny. But you see his personal side. I don't know. I don't know who could be the winner. I would have thought it was the wrestler. I wish I could think of her name. I would have thought it was her, but then I saw how close she was to leave, how close she is now to being voted out. I don't know. But yeah, there's still quite a few people that could win. I don't know if Todrick will. Not Todrick. Todd Bridges. I don't think he will. He's very laid back, but I was surprised when he went off on Cynthia, and they did air some of that on the show. A lot of it was like behind the camera kind of thing. Like they didn't air him screaming F you at her and all that, but
do they do the after hours with the celebrities?
You can watch them 24 hours a day on Peacock or something like that. You have to pay for it. But a lot of times they have people upload it on YouTube, if not the whole thing clips, But it's really good. It's really good. And it's interesting to see how friendships have formed. But apparently Todrick and Carson know each other. They've worked together. Cynthia and Carson did too, but I think initially Todrick and Carson thought they would get along, but they're actually on opposite sides of the house. And so when Todrick came to Carson to tell her that the girl was working both sides of the house, Carson said, even though I know him, if he hadn't told Cynthia, I may not have believed. But I don't know. It's interesting friendships. I wonder, because they all say, oh, we're just, it's just a game. I'd be mad when I go home. But it's still a great show. And, it's one of those shows. It's just, I don't know. I think seeing people's personalities, but Lamar didn't know how the game works. That comedian didn't know how the game worked. And someone else, because they were like, so what happens now? We got to vote when? What happened? Who are we voting for? It was just like, your people didn't teach you. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Anything coming out of the pipeline for wrap?
Nothing with me. I will say, and I forgot to mention, Oscar nominations came out right after our episode last week. So I saw a few. I did want to see a few more, but it sounds like none of them are getting released to streaming until like March 5th. So still got a little bit of time to see. Like West Side Story was on my list. A few other ones that I haven't seen yet, but that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, they said that
Batman.
Batman, but when does that come out?
March 4th.
Oh, okay, so in a couple of weeks.
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh, the reboot of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is more of a dramatic series.
Yeah,
it's really good. I guess.
Oh, I've heard opposite. I heard it wasn't that good.
Really?
Yeah. Really? I heard. Look, and this is everyone's talking about everything, but some people were like, Fresh Prince already had some dramatic elements in it, so basically they took the show and took the funny parts out, and that's what you're left with. And is that what you want to watch? I don't know. So
right, I guess it depends what you're going into thinking.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, as always, thank you for letting us.
Realistic.
Sorry.
I was saying, I guess Will was trying to give them something more real.
Yeah.
His experience.
Yeah.
Well, it was based on someone made a parody of it. Like they made this video, they shared it, and then they picked it up, and we'll see if it can stick. But I don't know. The trailer looked a little too much.
I don't have Peacock, so I won't be watching.
Fair enough. That's a good enough reason not to.
Well, thanks for letting us know what to spend our time, money on, what not to. Have a great week. We'll talk again next Monday.
All right. Talk to you later.
Right back after this.